January 28 is not just another date on a calendar. This moment is a divine interruption, a precise crossing of time and purpose where heaven leans close enough for you to hear. There is a reason this message has reached you today, and it is not because you were searching for it. It is because something has been searching for you. In the unseen realms, shifts do not announce themselves loudly. They arrive quietly, deliberately, and only those whose spirits are awake feel the sudden pause, the subtle urgency, the sense that something important is unfolding right now. If you felt a pull to stop, to listen, to open this message instead of moving on, that pull itself is evidence. You are not here by accident. January 28 carries a weight that many will overlook. While the world continues its routine, heaven marks moments differently. Archangel Michael reveals that certain days act like spiritual hinges, points where what hath been forming invisibly begins to turn. This is one of those days. What is shifting now did not begin this morning, but today is when awareness becomes critical. Awareness is not passive. It is a form of protection. When your attention is aligned with truth, confusion loses its grip. That is why your attention matters now more than ever. There are seasons when silence from heaven is intentional, and then there are moments when silence would be dangerous. This is not a time for delay or distraction. Something that once remained hidden is now pressing close to the surface. You may have sensed it as restlessness without a clear cause, or as an unusual clarity mixed with unease. Perhaps conversations feel different, decisions feel heavier, or familiar paths no longer feel safe to walk without question. These are not random emotions. They are signals. Archangel Michael speaks of a shift where neutrality is no longer an option. To be unaware now is to be unguarded. This message reaches you today because there is a narrowing taking place. Not everyone will notice it, and not everyone is meant to. January 28 acts like a filter. Those who hear and recognize the weight of this moment are being positioned differently from those who dismiss it. This does not make you superior, but it does make you responsible. When truth is revealed, accountability follows. Heaven does not reveal without purpose, and it does not warn without offering protection alongside it. Archangel Michael explains that what is shifting is not only external. Yes, circumstances will change, systems will expose weakness, and false stability will begin to crack. But the deeper shift is internal. Your discernment is being sharpened. You are being invited to see beyond appearances, beyond comfort, beyond what once felt secure. This is why your attention matters now. Attention is agreement. What you give your focus to determines what has influence over you. Today's about reclaiming that focus before something else claims it for you. There is also a timing element that cannot be ignored. January 28 stands at the edge of acceleration. What was delayed is about to move quickly, and what moves quickly requires preparedness, not panic. Archangel Michael does not bring fear. He brings clarity and defense. This message is not meant to alarm you, but to align you. When alignment happens before movement, outcomes change. Protection is strengthened when awareness arrives early. You may be wondering why this feels so personal, so direct, as if the message is speaking straight into your life. That is because in it, general warnings feel distant. This one feels close because it is targeted. There are decisions ahead of you, some small and some significant, that will carry more weight than they appear to on the surface. Heaven is ensuring you are not walking into them blind. This is not about predicting disaster. It is about preventing unnecessary loss. Archangel Michael makes it clear that today is about positioning, not perfection. You are not expected to have all the answers. You are expected to be attentive. You listen. to pause before reacting, to observe what is being revealed rather than rushing to explain it away. Many miss divine guidance not because it was unclear, but because it interrupted their assumptions. This message interrupts assumptions. It asks you to reconsider what you thought was settled. There is also comfort woven into this urgency. You are being watched over. The fact that this message reached you is itself a sign of protection already in motion. Heaven does not warn from a distance, it guards from up close. January 28 is marked not by fear but by readiness. What is shifting does not come to harm you. It comes to realign you with what cannot be shaken. As this message continues, what is unfolding will become clearer. The surface explanation is only the beginning. There is more beneath this moment than can be seen at first glance, and what comes next will explain why recognizing this shift now changes everything that follows. Now that you understand this moment is not random, the next question naturally rises. Why you? Why did this message reach you when countless others will never pause long enough to hear it? Archangel Michael explains that spiritual selection is rarely dramatic. It does not arrive with thunder or signs written across the sky. It moves quietly through attention, through sensitivity, through the willingness to stop when something inside says, "This matters." Many people encountered this message today. Few stayed, fewer listened, and even fewer truly heard. A distinction is important. You were not chosen because you are perfect, fearless, or always certain. You were chosen because something in you is responsive. Responsiveness is rare in a world trained to scroll, dismiss, and move on. Heaven looks for those who can sense weight, to recognize when a moment carries consequence. Archangel Michael reveals that when shifts approach, awareness is quietly distributed to those capable of handling it. This is not favoritism. It is strategy. Information is protection, but only when placed in the right hands. There is a misconception that divine messages are meant only for the spiritually elite. That belief causes many to miss what is meant for them. The truth is simpler and more sobering. Those who are willing to pay attention are entrusted with more clarity. Attention itself is a form of obedience. Today, your attention marks you as someone who can be trusted with insight before impact. That is why this message reached you first. Archangel Michael speaks of a growing divide not between good and evil in an obvious sense, but between awareness and distraction. Distraction dulls discernment. It convinces people that urgency is anxiety and that warnings are negativity. But discernment feels different. It feels calm but firm. It does not rush, yet it does not ignore. If you are listening to this now, it is because your spirit recognized that calm firmness. Something in you knew this was not noise. This is also why others in your life may not understand what you are sensing. They may feel comfortable where you feel alert. They may see normalcy where you sense transition. This does not mean you are imagining things. It means you are tuned differently in this season. Archangel Michael emphasizes that not everyone is meant to move at the same time. Some are called to stabilize, others to observe, and some to act. Right now, you are being called to observe with intention. There is a warning embedded in this selection, but it is a gentle one. When awareness is given, responsibility follows. Responsibility does not mean pressure. It means stewardship. You are being asked to steward your focus carefully. What you engage with, what you agree with, what you ignore, all of it matters more than you will now. Even small choices are carrying amplified weight. This is not to overwhelm you, but to awaken precision. At the same time, there is encouragement here. You are not late. You did not miss something essential. In fact, this message reaching you now is confirmation that timing is still working in your favor. Archangel Michael does not reveal shifts to those who cannot navigate them. He reveals them to those who can remain steady while others become reactive. If you have felt an unusual sense of calm beneath uncertainty, that is not accidental. It is preparation. This is also why engagement matters in moments like this. When you acknowledge a message, you strengthen your alignment with it. That is why I ask you now, not as a routine request, but as a conscious act. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to like this video. Not for numbers, but as a signal of agreement. Leave a comment, even a simple one, to mark that you were here and aware. And if you have not yet subscribed, do so, not out of habit, but as a way of staying connected to messages meant for this season. Sharing this with someone who feels unsettled or searching may be the exact confirmation they need. These actions are small, but alignment often begins with small acknowledgments. Archangel Michael notes that many underestimate how alignment works. They wait for grammatic instructions while overlooking subtle confirmations. But heaven often moves through agreement before instruction. By engaging, by responding, you are not amplifying a channel. You are anchoring awareness in your own life. You are saying, I recognize this moment. That recognition carries weight. There is also protection in community, even when it is unseen. You are not the only one hearing this today. Others, in different places and circumstances, are sensing the same shift. You may never meet them, but alignment connects you. This shared awareness forms a kind of spiritual perimeter, a quiet strengthening that resists confusion. That is why these messages continue to reach those who are listening. As this unfolds, what will become clearer is not just what is changing, but how you are meant to stand within that change. You are not being rushed toward action yet. You are being grounded in understanding. What comes next will reveal the nature of the shift already underway beneath the surface, subtle, silent, and more influential than it appears. What is happening right now is not loud, and that is precisely why so many will miss it. The shift Archangel Michael reveals is already in motion beneath the surface, quietly rearranging outcomes before events ever appear. Most people expect change to announce itself through visible disruption, but the most powerful transitions begin invisibly. They move through thoughts before circumstances, through discernment before decisions. If you have felt something subtly different in recent days, a sense that old patterns no longer fit, that familiar reactions feel out of place, that is not imagination. That is the shift already touching you. This movement is not chaotic. It is deliberate. Certain cycles are closing without ceremony, not because they failed, but because their purpose has been fulfilled. Archangel Michael explains that when a cycle ends quietly, it is often because clinging would do more harm than release. You may notice that some things no longer provoke the same emotion, while others suddenly demand clarity. This is the sign of internal realignment. What once held weight is losing it, and what once seemed insignificant is beginning to matter more. There is also a separation taking place, but not in the way people expect. It is not a physical removal yet. It is an energetic distinction. You may feel less patient with surface-level conversations, less willing to compromise what you know is true just to maintain comfort. This is not isolation. It is refinement. Archangel Michael describes this phase as a narrowing of focus, where distractions lose their appeal because your spirit recognizes urgency. Not fear-based urgency, but purposeful urgency. You might also notice that rest feels different. Sleep may be lighter, where dreams more vivid. Thoughts surface without invitation, bringing clarity rather than confusion. This is because the mind is being cleared to receive direction. When something is about to change externally, the internal environment is prepared first. Heaven does not rush the body into places the spirit has not already visited. At the same time, resistance can appear in subtle ways. Doubt may whisper that nothing is really happening, that you are overthinking, that it is safer to return to routine. Archangel Michael warns that this is the most delicate moment, not because danger is imminent, but because awareness can be dulled if ignored. The shift does not force participation. It waits for recognition. That is why listening now matters. This is also why emotions may feel closer to the surface, not overwhelming but present. Old memories may rise briefly, not to trap you but to be released. Conversations from the past may echo, not to reopen wounds, but to confirm growth. These are signs of clearance. What cannot move forward is being gently set down. Importantly, this shift is not about loss. It is about capacity. When space is created, something else can enter. Archangel Michael emphasizes that what is leaving was once necessary. Gratitude, not regret, is the correct response. Gratitude closes doors peacefully. Resistance keeps them ajar. You may find yourself pausing more often, observing before speaking, sensing before deciding. This is alignment in practice. Action will come later. Right now, discernment is being sharpened. The quietness of this phase is intentional because noise would interfere. This is a recalibration, not a confrontation. There is reassurance here as well. You are not falling behind. If anything, you are slightly ahead, positioned to see what others will only recognize after it manifests. This can feel lonely at times, but it is not abandonment. It is preparation. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian in transitions, ensuring that awareness arrives before acceleration. As this shift continues, signs will become clearer. You will notice how certain choices feel lighter when aligned and heavier when they are not. Pay attention to that contrast. It is guidance without words. Trust does not require full understanding, only attentiveness. And here is what matters most. This moment is not meant to be rushed through. Let it settle. Let clarity rise naturally. What is coming next depends on what is recognized now. Hold on. What comes next changes everything. Type "I stand aware" in the comments if this resonates with you. Blessing code 317 is now activated. As this shift settles in your spirit, hear this clearly. Every message like this is a seed of light sent to reach souls standing at the edge of change. When you support this work through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are not funding a channel. You are opening a gate for truth to reach someone who has been praying quietly for clarity. I hear the Lord saying, "What you place in my hand, I multiply into harvest." This is not a donation. It is a prophetic response to what you just felt. The PayPal link is waiting in the description, and the QR code flashes as a doorway, not a request. When you give, you align yourself with the movement of this message across the earth. I bless every seed sown now. May protection, clarity, and divine acceleration meet you where you stand. Act now. Obedience carries timing. Archangel Michael now brings focus to a word that carries quiet authority in this moment: repositioning. This is not a command to move physically, announce change publicly, or force visible action. It is far more precise than that. Repositioning is about where you are standing internally, what you are agreeing with, what you are tolerating, and what you are unconsciously leaning on for stability. Heaven does not always ask you to move forward immediately. Sometimes it asks you to adjust your stance so that when movement begins, you are not thrown off balance. This repositioning begins with recognition. There are places in your thinking, your expectations, and even your emotional reactions where you have been standing out of habit rather than alignment. Archangel Michael reveals that familiarity can quietly become a liability when a season changes. What once felt safe may now feel restrictive. What once gave clarity may now produce confusion. This does not mean those things were wrong. It means their assignment has ended. Their positioning honors what was without being trapped by it. Many people misunderstand this phase because it feels like nothing is happening. Externally, life may look the same. Responsibilities continue. Conversations repeat. Routines remain intact. But internally, something is being recalibrated. Your tolerance for misalignment is lowering. You are less willing to explain away discomfort or override intuition. This is not impatience. It is discernment becoming more refined. Archangel Michael explains that discernment increases when protection is being strengthened. There is also an urgency attached to this repositioning, but it is not frantic. It is firm. Delay right now carries a different weight than it did before. This is not because disaster is looming, but because momentum is forming. When momentum builds, standing in the wrong place creates resistance. Resistance drains energy. Repositioning conserves it. Heaven is preparing you to move with clarity, not exhaustion. You may notice resistance rising in subtle ways. Thoughts like, "I will deal with this later," grit is not that serious, may surface. Archangel Michael warns that these thoughts are not always logical conclusions. They are often invitations to remain comfortable. Comfort is not the enemy, but misplaced comfort can dull awareness. This is why discernment must lead, not convenience. Understanding the difference between fear and discernment is critical here. Fear pushes you to react prematurely. Discernment asks you to pause and adjust. Fear is noisy and urgent. Discernment is calm and insistent. If you feel a steady inner nudge rather than panic, that is not fear. That is guidance. Repositioning responds to guidance, not to anxiety. This phase also affects boundaries more than people expect. You may feel a growing need to protect your time, your attention, and your emotional energy. Certain conversations may suddenly feel draining. Certain obligations may feel heavier than before. This does not mean you are becoming distant or unkind. It means you are becoming precise. Archangel Michael's protection works best when boundaries are honored. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. Repositioning also involves restraint. Not everything you see needs to be addressed. Not every realization needs to be shared. Silence becomes a tool rather than a weakness. Archangel Michael emphasizes that there is power in observing without reacting. When you respond too quickly, you reveal position before it is secured. When you wait, clarity strengthens. You may also feel drawn to simplify during this time. Simplification is not withdrawal, it is focus. Reducing unnecessary commitments, noise where mental clutter creates room for instruction. Heaven speaks more clearly in uncluttered spaces. This is why you may feel less interested in distractions that once occupied you. This is not loss of joy, it is refinement of attention. There is reassurance woven through this repositioning. You are not failing because things feel slower. You are not stuck because answers have not fully formed yet. Repositioning is not stagnation, it is calibration. When heaven calibrates, it adjusts internal alignment before allowing external acceleration. Skipping this phase would create instability later. Archangel Michael also makes it clear that this repositioning is protective. It prevents you from stepping into situations unprepared. It shields you from unnecessary conflict. It allows you to respond rather than react. Many problems are avoided not by intervention, but by correct positioning beforehand. You may question whether these internal shifts truly matter. They do. Where you stand internally determines how you interpret what happens externally. Two people can face the same change and experience completely different outcomes because one was positioned and the other was not. Awareness alters trajectory. Do not rush to label this phase. Let it work quietly. Pay attention to what no longer fits without forcing closure. Release without resentment. Adjust without explanation. Trust that clarity follows alignment. Archangel Michael stands as guardian in moments like this, ensuring that when the next movement begins, you will step forward with steadiness, not strain. This repositioning is temporary, but its impact is lasting. Under it, what comes next will build directly upon how well this adjustment is received. Archangel Michael now turns your attention to a warning that is easy to overlook precisely because it does not arrive with drama. This is not the kind of warning that interrupts with fear or chaos. It is quieter, subtler, and therefore far more dangerous to ignore. Most people are conditioned to recognize warnings only when they come with visible consequences, raised voices, or external pressure. But the warning present in this season arrives as a gentle narrowing, a subtle closing of options, a sense that certain paths no longer feel neutral. This week carries such a warning, and many will miss it because they are waiting for something louder. The warning is not about catastrophe. It is about timing. Archangel Michael reveals that there is a small window of clarity open right now, and that window does not remain open indefinitely. When clarity is available, indecision becomes costly. Not because a wrong choice brings immediate harm, but because delayed choices quietly default to old patterns. What you do not choose consciously, you choose unconsciously by habit. This is the danger most people never see. Distractions will increase during this window. This is not accidental. When discernment sharpens, distractions attempt to dull it. You may notice an unusual pull toward busyness, noise, or trivial concerns. Things that normally would not demand your attention suddenly seem urgent. Archangel Michael explains that distraction is one of the most effective tools against awareness because it feels harmless. It convinces people they are simply occupied, not misaligned. This warning also relates to conversations and influences. You may find that advice you once trusted now feels slightly off, or that opinions around you feel louder but less grounded. This does not mean others are wrong or malicious. It means your alignment is changing faster than some environments can accommodate. Continuing to seek confirmation from places that no longer carry clarity will only create confusion. Archangel Michael cautions against outsourcing discernment during this phase. Another aspect of this warning is emotional. Old emotional triggers may attempt to resurface, inviting you to react the way you used to. The warning is not in the trigger itself, but in the temptation to respond automatically. Automatic reactions belong to old seasons. Conscious responses belong to new ones. This week, the difference between the two matters more than usual. There is also a temptation to minimize what you are sensing. You may think, I will deal with this later, or it is not urgent. Archangel Michael emphasizes that urgency does not always feel intense. Sometimes it feels quiet but persistent. Ignoring that persistence does not make it go away. It simply postpones clarity. This is how people drift into situations they later say they never intended to enter. The warning is gentle because the correction required is small. Often, it is not about making a drastic change, but about making a precise one. A conversation postponed. A boundary reinforced. A decision acknowledged instead of avoided. These small adjustments redirect trajectories quietly but powerfully. Archangel Michael reminds you that protection is often activated through prevention, not rescue. This week is also marked by a test of focus. What you give attention to will grow in influence. If you feed uncertainty, it will expand. If you feed clarity, it will strengthen. This is not about positive thinking. It is about intentional awareness. Awareness directs energy. Energy shapes outcomes. You may also notice a subtle discomfort when you attempt to return to old compromises. That discomfort is not condemnation. It is guidance. What once felt acceptable may now feel heavy. That is the warning working as intended. It alerts you before damage occurs. Ignoring it does not make you brave. It makes you vulnerable. Archangel Michael stresses that this warning is meant to be received without fear. Fear clouds judgment. Calm attention sharpens it. There is nothing you need to rush into or run from. There is simply something you need to see clearly before moving forward. That clarity is available now, but it requires stillness to recognize. Many people will miss this warning because they are focused on outcomes rather than alignment. They ask what will happen, instead of where am I standing. Alignment determines outcome long before events unfold. This is why the warning comes now, before anything visibly changes. It is an invitation to adjust internally so that external changes do not destabilize you. Do not assume that because things look normal, nothing is at stake. Quiet moments often carry the greatest consequence. Pay attention to subtle signals. Notice where peace increases and where it decreases. Peace is not complacency. It is confirmation. When peace withdraws, it is not punishment. It is guidance redirecting you. This warning is not meant to burden you. It is meant to protect you. Receiving it does not mean something bad is coming. It means something important is approaching. How you respond this week will influence how smoothly the next phase unfolds. Stay attentive. Stay grounded. What you notice now determines what you avoid later. Archangel Michael now reveals how this shift begins to touch one of the most sensitive areas of your life: your decisions and your relationships. This is where many people first feel unsettled, not because something is wrong, but because clarity is increasing. When clarity increases, misalignment becomes harder to ignore. Decisions that once felt simple may now feel weighted. Relationships that once felt effortless may now require discernment. This is not a sign of loss. It is a sign of truth rising to the surface. You may notice that your responses are changing before your circumstances do. Situations that once triggered immediate emotion now pause you. Words that once flowed automatically now feel measured. This is the energy shift at work. Archangel Michael explains that when discernment sharpens, impulsive reactions lose authority. You are not becoming distant. You are becoming deliberate. Deliberateness protects you from unnecessary entanglements. In relationships, this shift can feel confusing at first. You may sense distance where there was once closeness or heaviness where there was once peace. This does not always mean the relationship must end. Sometimes it means the terms must change. Alignment does not demand isolation, but it does require honesty. Certain connections were built for earlier versions of you. As you shift, those connections either adjust with you or reveal their limits. There may also be a growing awareness of emotional imbalance. You may realize that you have been carrying more than your share, explaining more than necessary, or accommodating at the cost of clarity. This realization can feel uncomfortable, even disappointing. Archangel Michael reminds you that awareness is not accusation. It is illumination. Seeing clearly does not mean you must confront everything immediately. It means you stop pretending not to see. Decision-making is also affected during this phase. Choices that once felt neutral now feel directional. Even small decisions seem to carry a sense of consequence. This is because alignment is tightening. When alignment tightens, choices matter more. Not because you are under pressure, but because you are closer to the center of your path. Near the center, small adjustments create significant results. You may feel tempted to seek reassurance from others during this time. That instinct is understandable, but Archangel Michael advises caution. Not everyone can confirm what you are discerning, especially if they are not experiencing the same shift. Seeking validation from those who do not share your alignment can create unnecessary doubt. This is not about superiority, it is about resonance. Guidance is best received where clarity already exists. Here is also a pruning happening in emotional habits. You may notice that certain patterns, over-explaining, rescuing, minimizing your needs, no longer feel natural. This is not hardness. It is hell. The shift does not remove compassion. It refines it. Compassion without clarity leads to exhaustion. Compassion with boundaries leads to sustainability. Archangel Michael also speaks about timing in relationships. Not every truth needs to be spoken immediately. Not every realization requires action right away. Discernment includes patience. Sometimes the most powerful shift happens internally first. When your internal position changes, external dynamics often adjust without force. You may also feel a pull toward solitude at times, not out of withdrawal, but out of recalibration. Solitude allows emotions to settle and decisions to mature. This is not avoidance. It is integration. The energy shift asks you to listen more deeply, especially to what brings peace and what quietly drains it. Peace is a reliable indicator. It does not mean comfort. It means alignment. There may be moments of grief as well. Not dramatic grief, but a quiet acknowledgement that certain seasons, roles, or expectations are ending. Allow that grief without judgment. He honors what was without chaining you to it. Archangel Michael reminds you that endings handled gently do not wound. They free. This shift also strengthens your intuition in practical ways. You may find yourself making decisions more quickly because clarity arrives faster. Or you may delay decisions because more information is surfacing. Both responses are valid when guided by discernment. The key is that decisions are no longer driven by fear of loss, but by alignment with truth. If relationships fall away during this time, do not rush to replace them. Space is not emptiness. It is preparation. New connections often require cleared ground. Archangel Michael assures you that what aligns with your next season will not require you to abandon clarity to maintain peace. Above all, remember that this energy shift is not meant to destabilize you. It is meant to stabilize you at a deeper level. Decisions become cleaner. Relationships become more honest. Emotional energy becomes more contained and purposeful. This may feel unfamiliar, but unfamiliar does not mean unsafe. As this continues, trust what brings quiet steadiness rather than loud reassurance. Trust the sense of rightness that does not need to be explained. Archangel Michael stands present in this phase, guiding cuts that heal and separations that protect. What remains after this shift will be lighter, clearer, and more aligned with who you are becoming. Archangel Michael now draws attention to something many people sense, but struggle to explain. Time itself feels different. Days move faster, decisions stack closer together, and moments of hesitation seem to carry heavier consequences. This is not imagination. This is acceleration. Heaven has shifted the pace, and when timing accelerates, preparation becomes more important than prediction. Archangel Michael explains that acceleration is not meant to pressure you, it is meant to position you. But only those who recognize it can move with it instead of being dragged by it. Acceleration does not mean chaos. It means compression. What once unfolded slowly over months now unfolds in weeks. What once required repeated lessons now arrives as a single, clear realization. This is mercy, not intensity. Evan shortened certain processes to reduce unnecessary wandering. But shortened processes require alertness. When time compresses, hesitation becomes heavier because there is less margin for drifting. You may notice that opportunities and challenges appear closer together. You barely finish processing one situation before another arrives. This is not punishment or overload. It is sequencing. Archangel Michael reveals that things are being arranged deliberately, even if they feel sudden. Acceleration does not remove order. It reveals it more quickly. This is why spiritual hesitation is more costly now than it was before. Hesitation does not always look like refusal. Sometimes it looks like endless analysis, repeated questioning, or waiting for perfect certainty. Archangel Michael cautions that perfect certainty is rarely given before movement. It is often given through movement. Acceleration favors responsiveness over completeness. There is also a warning here against panic. Acceleration is not an invitation to rush blindly. Rushing and readiness are not the same. Rushing is driven by fear of missing out. Readiness is driven by clarity of position. The repositioning you have already felt was preparation for this pace. Without that repositioning, acceleration would feel overwhelming. With it, acceleration feels purposeful. Archangel Michael emphasizes that obedience now looks like attentiveness. Listening closely, adjusting quickly, releasing what no longer fits without prolonged struggle. When time accelerates, excess weight slows you down. This includes emotional weight, mental clutter, and unresolved resistance. Letting go becomes a skill, not a loss. You may also feel an increased sensitivity to timing. Moments will feel clearly right or clearly wrong. This sensitivity is not anxiety. It is alignment responding to pace. When something is mistimed now, it will feel heavier than before. When something is well-timed, it will feel unusually smooth. Pay attention to that conquest. It is guidance. Acceleration also exposes what is unstable. Structures built on avoidance, compromise, or denial struggle under speed. This is why some systems and relationships may feel strained. Speed reveals strength and weakness quickly. Archangel Michael reminds you that exposure is not cruelty. It is clarity. What cannot endure the pace is not meant to carry you forward. Preparation, in this season, is internal more than external. You are not being asked to gather resources or plan every outcome. You are being asked to remain clear, grounded, and responsive. Internal preparation ensures that when moments arrive, you recognize them instead of missing them. Many people miss alignment not because it never came, but because they were mentally elsewhere when it did. There is also reassurance in this acceleration. Heaven does not speed things up without support. Protection increases alongside pace. Archangel Michael's presence is especially strong in accelerated seasons because precision matters more. Missteps can be avoided through attentiveness. Guidance becomes more immediate when awareness is maintained. You may feel moments of fatigue mixed with clarity. That is normal. Acceleration requires adjustment. Rest when needed, but do not disengage. Rest restores strength. Disengagement dulls perception. The balance between the two is discernment. Archangel Michael encourages rhythm, not rigidity. This is also a season where preparation replaces waiting. Waiting implies passivity. Preparation implies readiness. You may not know exactly what is coming next, but you can be positioned to respond well when it arrives. That is enough. Alignment outruns prediction. As timing accelerates, trust what brings steadiness rather than urgency. Urgency pushes, alignment draws. When something is aligned, it will move forward without force, even at speed. When something is misaligned, speed will amplify resistance. Let that feedback guide you. Remember, acceleration does not remove your agency. It sharpens it. Choices matter more because outcomes arrive faster. This is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to empower you. Awareness gives you influence over how you move through this pace. Archangel Michael assures you that you are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be to recognize what is happening. Stay attentive. Stay flexible. Stay grounded. The pace will continue to increase, but so will clarity for those who remain aligned. What unfolds next will make sense of why timing had to change now. Archangel Michael now reveals what unfolds when you respond correctly to this shift. Not perfectly, not fearfully, but consciously. Many people assume that responding correctly means dramatic obedience or visible action. In reality, correct response in this season is quieter and far more powerful. It is the decision to stay aligned when distraction invites drift. It is the choice to remain attentive when others grow numb. When you respond this way, protection does not arrive later as a rescue. It activates now as a covering. The first thing that happens when you respond correctly is internal stabilization. While the world around you may feel uncertain or accelerated, something within you becomes anchored. You are less reactive, less shaken by sudden changes, less dependent on reassurance. This stability is not emotional numbness. It is spiritual grounding. Archangel Michael explains that alignment produces a kind of calm authority. You are not forcing peace. Peace is holding you. Another result is clarity without obsession. Answers come when needed, not all at once. You stop demanding full visibility and start trusting partial light. This allows you to move without anxiety. When alignment is present, you no longer need to see 10 steps ahead. One clear step is enough. This is how protection works in motion. Responding correctly also activates discernment in real time. You begin to sense when to speak and when to remain silent, when to act and when to wait. This discernment does not require constant prayer or effort. It becomes instinctive. Archangel Michael describes it as spiritual reflex, truth rising before confusion has time to form. This is one of the most powerful forms of guidance, because it prevents entanglement before it begins. You may also notice a subtle shift in how challenges approach you. Problems that once lingered now resolve more quickly. Conflicts that once escalated now dissolve or bypass you altogether. This is not coincidence. Alignment creates pathways of least resistance. It does not remove difficulty entirely, but it reduces unnecessary friction. What must be faced becomes clear. What does not belong falls away. Protection also manifests relationally. When you respond correctly, certain people no longer have the same influence over your emotions or decisions. Their words carry less weight. Their reactions no longer define your direction. This is not hardness of heart. It is freedom of position. Archangel Michael emphasizes that influence decreases when alignment increases. You are still compassionate, but you are no longer easily swayed. There is also an increase in peace that does not depend on outcomes. This is important. Peace tied to outcomes is fragile. Peace tied to alignment is durable. When you respond correctly, peace remains even when plans change. This peace becomes a compass. When it withdraws, you know to pause. When it strengthens, you know to proceed. This guidance is subtle but reliable. You may also experience confirmation through unexpected ease. Doors open without struggle. Conversations align without forcing. Timing improves without explanation. These are signs that you are moving with the current rather than against it. Archangel Michael notes that heaven does not always announce approval. Sometimes it simply removes resistance. Responding correctly does not mean you will never feel uncertainty again. It means uncertainty no longer controls you. You learn to move alongside it without being dominated by it. This is maturity of faith, not absence of doubt. You are allowed to question. You are not meant to freeze. Another outcome is increased resilience. When alignment is present, setbacks do not dismantle you. They inform you. You recover faster because you are not carrying excess emotional weight. This resilience is essential in accelerated seasons. It allows you to stay engaged without burning out. Archangel Michael also reveals that responding correctly positions you to help others later, not by preaching, but by presence. People know steadiness. They feel clarity without being told what to think. Your alignment becomes a quiet reference point. This is influence without effort. Perhaps most importantly, responding correctly keeps you within divine timing. Timing is not just about when things happen. It is about how they happen. Alignment ensures that when movement occurs, it is sustainable. You do not arrive exhausted. You do not arrive confused. You arrive prepared. This is why the response now matters so deeply. You are not just reacting to a message. You are setting posture for what comes next. That posture determines how smoothly the next phase unfolds. Stay attentive. Stay grounded. You will be glad you stayed for what's about to be revealed. Type "I align with truth" in the comments if this speaks to you. Blessing code 492 is now activated. What you just heard is not meant to stop with you. It is meant to flow through you. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are sowing light into places where confusion has been winning. I hear the Lord saying, as you release oil, I will keep your lamp full. This is a prophetic moment to act, not delay. The PayPal donation link is in the description, and the QR code appearing is a doorway of obedience, not coincidence. Your giving becomes a voice that reaches someone who may never hear truth any other way. I speak blessing over every giver now. May clarity, protection, and divine favor locate you. Move now. Alignment responds to action. What happens from this point forward depends far more on your response than on the information itself. Archangel Michael speaks plainly here. Awareness without response slowly fades, but awareness that is acted upon becomes alignment, and alignment shapes destiny. This is the moment where listening turns into positioning. Many people encounter messages like this, feel a brief surge of clarity, and then allow routine to absorb it until nothing changes. Not because the message was weak, but because the response was absent. This part is about why your response matters now, not later, and not in theory, but in practice. Response does not mean sudden dramatic action. It means conscious participation. It means allowing what you now recognize to influence how you move, speak, choose, and pause. In accelerated seasons, even small responses carry amplified weight. A moment of restraint instead of reaction. A boundary honored instead of compromised. A decision postponed until peace confirms it. These actions may seem minor, but they redirect momentum. Archangel Michael explains that momentum responds more to intention than effort. When intention shifts, direction follows. There is a critical difference between passive listening and active alignment. Passive listening collects insight without allowing it to rearrange priorities. Active alignment allows truth to reorganize your internal structure. You can feel when this happens. Something settled. Resistance softens. You stop debating what you already know. That inner agreement is powerful. It signals readiness, and readiness attracts clarity. This is why acknowledgement matters so deeply. When you acknowledge a moment, you anchor it in your awareness. When you ignore it, it dissolves back into background noise. That is why response is not symbolic, it is directional. By responding, you are telling your spirit, this matters. This stays. That signal strengthens discernment and prevents awareness from fading under distraction. Sharing is also part of this response. When you share something aligned, you are not simply passing along information. You are extending awareness. Someone else may be standing at the edge of the same realization you have just stepped into. Your action may be the confirmation they have been quietly asking for. Alignment often moves through connection, even when journeys are personal. Archangel Michael emphasizes that response protects clarity. Clarity that is unattended fades. Clarity that is honored grows stronger. You protect what you value by responding to it. That is why I ask you now, intentionally, not routinely, to respond. If this message resonates with you, like this video as a sign of agreement. Leave a comment, even a brief one, to mark that you were present and attentive. Subscribe if you have not already, not out of habit, but as a way of staying connected to guidance meant for this season. Share this message with someone who hath been sensing change but cannot yet name it. These actions are not about a platform. They are about participation. There is also a warning embedded here, and it is a quiet one. Indifference is not neutral. Indifference slowly erodes discernment. When awareness is offered and dismissed, it does not disappear, it dulls. This is how people lose sensitivity they once had. Archangel Michael cautions against letting familiarity breed disregard. Treat this moment with respect, even if it feels subtle. Subtle does not mean insignificant. Your response now also influences how future guidance reaches you. When you respond faithfully to what you receive, more clarity is entrusted to you. When you ignore what is given, guidance often becomes less frequent, not as punishment, but as protection. Heaven does not overwhelm those who do not respond. Responsiveness expands capacity. You may feel resistance to responding publicly or visibly. That resistance often comes from fear of being seen, judged, or misunderstood. But response is not about explanation. It is about alignment. You do not need to justify why something resonates. You only need to acknowledge that it does. That acknowledgement strengthens internal authority and reduces dependence on external approval. There is also a personal pattern being formed here. How you respond now trains you how to respond later. It conditions your spirit to recognize and honor subtle guidance in other areas of your life. This pattern will matter as timing continues to accelerate. Small faithful responses now prepare you for larger decisions later. Archangel Michael reassures you that no sincere response is wasted. Even if you do not immediately see results, alignment compounds. Each conscious response builds stability. Over time, that stability becomes confidence, not loud confidence, but quiet certainty. You begin to trust your discernment because you have practiced honoring it. Do not underestimate this moment. It is easy to listen and move on. It is harder, and far more powerful, to listen and respond. Response transforms awareness into alignment. Alignment shapes outcome. Outcome confirms timing. Stay with this. What comes next brings reassurance and confirmation. Proof that you are not late, not overlooked, and not unguarded. You'll want to hear what is about to be revealed. Archangel Michael now brings assurance, and this assurance is necessary because uncertainty has a way of whispering lies when change is near. One of the most common lies people believe in shifting seasons is that they are late, behind, or somehow missing what others have already grasped. Archangel Michael addresses this directly. You are not late. You are not lagging. You are not out of position. The very fact that you are hearing this message now is confirmation that timing is still aligned in your favor. Heaven does not measure progress the way the world does. The world measures by speed, visibility, and comparison. Heaven measures by readiness. You may feel that others are moving faster, achieving more, or appearing more settled, but appearances rarely reflect alignment. Many people rush ahead without clarity and later must return to repair what haste damaged. You are being spared that cycle. What looks like delay from the outside is often precision from above. Archangel Michael assures you that nothing meant for you has passed you by. Opportunity does not outrun alignment. If something requires you to abandon clarity, peace, or integrity to reach it, it was never truly yours. What is truly assigned to you will arrive in a way that does not fracture you internally. This is one of the quiet mercies of divine timing. It protects as much as it provides. There is also reassurance regarding protection. In seasons of acceleration and shift, protection often becomes invisible because it works preventatively. You may never see the outcomes that were avoided, the conflicts that never materialized, or the entanglements that quietly dissolved before reaching you. But absence of harm is not absence of action. Archangel Michael emphasizes that much of his work happens before danger becomes visible. Silence does not mean neglect. It often means intervention already occurred. You may have felt moments of vulnerability recently, moments where old fears attempted to resurface. This does not mean protection weakened. It means awareness increased. When awareness increases, you notice potential risks more clearly. This is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to empower you. Seeing clearly allows you to move wisely. Protection and discernment often work together. Archangel Michael also reassures you about waiting. Waiting does not mean being forgotten. Waiting means being held. There are things aligning behind the scenes that cannot be rushed without compromising their integrity. You are being kept in step with those alignments. When movement resumes fully, it will feel natural, not forced. You will recognize the moment because peace will accompany it. Another concern many carry quietly is whether they are strong enough for what lies ahead. Archangel Michael responds with calm authority. Strength is not something you must manufacture. It is something that arrives with assignment. You do not need tomorrow's strength today. You only need today's clarity. When tomorrow arrives, strength will arrive with it. Heaven never sends responsibility without supply. There is also reassurance regarding mistakes. You may worry that past decisions have disqualified you or complicated your path. Archangel Michael makes it clear that correction is always possible when awareness is present. Alignment is not fragile. It does not shatter at the first misstep. You adjust. The key is responsiveness, not perfection. Even now, adjustments are still effective. You are also being guarded emotionally. The season could easily produce anxiety if navigated without awareness. But because you are attentive, emotional overwhelm is being intercepted. You may feel concern without panic, seriousness without fear. That balance is intentional. It allows you to stay engaged without being consumed. Archangel Michael's presence stabilizes emotions so that discernment remains clear. There is comfort here as well. You are not required to carry this season alone. Even when guidance feels quiet, it is not absent. Quiet guidance often indicates trust. Heaven trusts you to listen, to notice, to pause when needed. That trust is not given lightly. It is earned through previous responsiveness. Archangel Michael assures you that what is being guarded on your behalf is not only external circumstances, but internal integrity. You are being protected from becoming someone you are not meant to be in order to survive a season. You are being preserved as yourself. That preservation matters more than speed or recognition. As this reassurance settles, allow it to replace unnecessary tension. You do not need to prove readiness. You do not need to force outcomes. You are not behind schedule. You are not invisible. You are not unprotected. Remain steady. Continue listening. The next confirmation will come quietly but clearly, and when it does, you will recognize it, not because it is loud, but because it brings peace. Archangel Michael now brings what can only be described as final confirmation, not in the sense that the journey ends here, but in the sense that uncertainty no longer needs to dominate your thoughts. This confirmation is not external proof or dramatic validation. It is quieter, deeper, and more personal. It comes as recognition. Recognition that what you have been sensing was real. Recognition that the shifts you felt internally were not imagination. Recognition that your awareness arrived exactly when it needed to. This confirmation will not look the same for everyone. For some, it will arrive as an unexpected calm where anxiety once lived. For others, it will appear as clarity around a decision that once felt tangled. You may notice that something which used to trouble you no longer has the same emotional grip. That release is confirmation. When alignment settles in, emotional weight lifts without explanation. You simply notice that you are no longer carrying what once exhausted you. Archangel Michael explains that confirmation often arrives through subtle consistency rather than dramatic events. You may notice repeated signals pointing in the same direction. Conversations may echo themes you have been contemplating. Thoughts may surface with unusual coherence. This repetition is not coincidence. It is reinforcement. Heaven often confirms through alignment rather than spectacle. Another form of confirmation is restraint. You may find yourself no longer drawn toward certain behaviors, arguments, or environments. What once tempted you now feels irrelevant. This is not loss of desire. It is refinement of appetite. When something no longer aligns, attraction fades naturally. Archangel Michael notes that this is one of the clearest signs of internal repositioning completing its work. You may also experience confirmation through peace that arrives without resolution. Problems may not be fully solved yet, but they no longer dominate your inner space. This peace is not denial. It is trust settling in. Trust does not require answers. It requires alignment. When alignment is present, peace becomes possible even in uncertainty. There is also confirmation in how you respond to others. You may notice increased patience, not forced patience, but genuine steadiness. Or you may notice quicker disengagement from unnecessary conflict. Both are signs of discernment maturing. You are no longer reacting from old habits. You are responding from awareness. That shift is confirmation. Archangel Michael also speaks about signs you will notice after this message, not as predictions, but as markers. Pay attention to how your intuition speaks in the coming days. It may be quieter, but clearer. Pay attention to where energy increases and where it drains. These sensations are guidance. You are not meant to analyze them endlessly, only to notice them. Another important confirmation is the sense of not needing to explain yourself. When alignment strengthens, the urge to justify choices diminishes. You may feel less inclined to defend decisions that feel right to you. This is not secrecy or avoidance. It is confidence settling in. When truth is internalized, it does not require constant external agreement. You may also experience moments of silence that feel different from emptiness. These silences feel full, not hollow. They are spaces where direction is forming. Resist the urge to fill them with noise. Silence is often where confirmation completes its work. Archangel Michael emphasizes that silence does not mean nothing is happening. It often means everything is aligning. There is also a caution here. Confirmation does not always bring excitement. Sometimes it brings sobriety. You may realize that certain paths are truly closed, not temporarily unavailable. This realization can carry a quiet sadness. Allow that sadness without judgment. It honors what was without binding you to it. Grief handled gently becomes wisdom, not weight. Archangel Michael reminds you not to seek validation from those who cannot perceive what you now see. Not everyone will understand your calm. Not everyone will agree with your restraint. That is not your burden. Confirmation is internal before it is communal. Trust what has been clarified within you. As this message draws closer to completion, understand this: the absence of chaos is itself confirmation. When alignment is present, urgency fades. Pressure eases. You are still alert but not anxious. You are still engaged but not strained. This balance is rare, and it signals that positioning has been successful. Do not rush to label what you are experiencing. Let it settle. Let understanding deepen naturally. Confirmation does not demand action. It prepares you for it. When the time comes to move, you will not need to convince yourself. Movement will feel appropriate, not forced. Archangel Michael assures you that what you are sensing now will continue to clarify, not confuse. You are not meant to explain everything to everyone. Some confirmations are meant to remain between you and heaven. Trust that privacy. Trust that peace. The final words before the closing are simple but firm. What has been revealed to you is enough for now. You have what you need for this moment. Stay attentive. Stay grounded. The final message ahead will seal what has been unfolding and release assurance for what comes next. This is the closing, but it is not an ending. It is a sealing. Archangel Michael now gathers everything that has been revealed and brings it into alignment with assurance, peace, and forward movement. What you have heard was not meant to overwhelm you with information, but to steady you with truth. The purpose of this message was never fear or urgency alone. It was preparation wrapped in protection, clarity wrapped in calm, and warning wrapped in reassurance. You were not meant to remember every word. You were meant to absorb the posture, awareness, attentiveness, grounded readiness. That posture is now yours. What began as a sense that something is shifting has matured into understanding. You now know that the shift was not random, not sudden, and not against you. It was timed, it was measured, and it was guided. Archangel Michael reminds you that peace is not the absence of change. Peace is the presence of alignment during change. That is what has been given to you here. Alignment does not remove challenges, but it removes confusion about how to face them. You may still encounter uncertainty, but it will no longer feel like darkness. It will feel like a path unfolding step by step. This message also affirms that you are not required to carry the weight of the future all at once. Tomorrow will bring tomorrow's clarity. Today only requires today's awareness. When you stay present, you stay protected. Anxiety tries to pull you ahead of yourself. Alignment anchors you where strength is available. There is a gentle authority in this closing because authority has already been established within you. You no longer need to search frantically for confirmation. You have received it. You no longer need to fear missing something important. What matters will meet you at the right time. Divine timing does not race. Your eyes. Archangel Michael also assures you that protection will continue in ways you may never see. Doors will close quietly. Conflicts will dissolve before forming. Detours will redirect you without drama. You may not recognize these moments as protection in real time, but they are. Gratitude will rise later, when you realize what never touched you. You are also reminded that your sensitivity is not weakness. It is discernment. The ability to feel shifts before they manifest is a form of spiritual intelligence. Guard it. Do not numb it. Do not dismiss it. But also do not let it exhaust you. Sensitivity guided by alignment becomes wisdom, not burden. As you move forward, resist the urge to explain everything you have sensed. Some understanding is meant to be lived, not debated. Let your steadiness speak. Let your clarity be evident in how you choose, pause, and respond. Those who are meant to understand will recognize it without explanation. Archangel Michael leaves you with assurance, not instruction. You are not being pushed. You are being trusted. Trusted to notice. Trusted to respond. Trusted to remain grounded as timing continues to unfold. That trust is a form of honor. If there is one thing to carry with you after this message, let it be this. You are not alone in discernment. You are not isolated in awareness. Others are being positioned alongside you, even if you never meet them. Alignment creates unseen connection. You are part of a larger movement of quiet readiness. Let peace settle where questions once lived. Let confidence replace unnecessary self-doubt. Let gratitude rise, not because everything is resolved, but because clarity hath been given. This is enough for now. Walk forward gently but firmly. Stay attentive without strain. Stay grounded without fear. What is ahead does not require panic. It requires presence. Type "I walk in peace" in the comments if you receive this. Blessing code 918 is now activated. As this message seals in your spirit, hear this as a divine command, not a request. What God has poured into you is meant to flow through you. When you give through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are releasing oil into a lamp that keeps burning for others still searching in the dark. The Lord is saying, as you sow into my word, I will guard what concerns you. This is not about support. It is about obedience and alignment with what you just received. The PayPal donation link is in the description, and the QR code flashing is your moment to act. I speak blessing over every giver now. May peace multiply, protection surround you, and clarity remain sharp. Do it now. Let your response complete the alignment.